The story begins with Lin Bei slowly regaining consciousness. He finds himself lying on the icy floor of a vast ancestral hall, his head pounding as fragmented memories swirl in his mind. Before he can even understand what's happening or how he ended up there, an enraged voice suddenly echoes from above, signaling that trouble has already begun. Wake him up. Use water. A moment later, freezing liquid drenched his face, soaking his clothes and shocking him awake. Lin Bei gasped and shot upright, irritation flaring instantly. Are you insane? He snapped, wiping water from his eyes. Then instinct took over. He sprang to his feet and blurted out, I'm going to be late. The words echoed awkwardly through the vast chamber. Several men stood before him, staring as if they were looking at something disgusting. One of them stepped forward, eyes cold and sharp. You unfilial wretch, the man said. Admit your wrongdoing at once. Lin Bei's heart skipped. Wrongdoing? He glanced around, finally taking in his surroundings. Massive pillars. Ancient decorations. Faces filled with hostility. This was nothing like the world he knew. Where did I end up? His hesitation seemed to ignite fury in one of the elders. The old man snorted and sneered. Still pretending? I'll end you with a single strike. Steel rang out as a sword was drawn. In the blink of an eye, the blade flew straight toward Lin Bei's neck. His pupils shrank as terror surged through him. This is real. Before the strike could land, a hand clamped onto the sword. The impact sent a shockwave through the hall. Standing calmly between them was Patriarch Lin. The attacker, Patriarch Shu, glared murderously. Lin Bei didn't hesitate. He dove behind Patriarch Lin, clutching his sleeve as panic spilled out. Hey! Murder is illegal. That single sentence only worsened things. Patriarch Shu's rage boiled over. Being spoken to so casually, almost mockingly, was unbearable. His killing intent intensified. Patriarch Lin sighed and spoke evenly. After questioning is complete, I will personally hand him over to your family. That promise forced Patriarch Shu to withdraw his blade, though his eyes burned with hatred. Fine, he said coldly. Let's see what excuse he uses to escape death. Lin Bei was ordered to kneel and repent immediately for offending the Shu family's eldest daughter. He stared blankly, having no idea what they were talking about. Patriarch Shu scoffed. He's pretending to have lost his memories. End this farce and kill him. The moment the name Lin Bei reached his ears, his head exploded with pain. Memories poured in like a raging flood. A lifetime that wasn't his. A noble household. Arrogance, indulgence, recklessness. He saw a night from before, an encounter involving a striking young woman and another man radiating the aura of a destined protagonist. The scenes shifted rapidly. Wealth, status, desire. Then came the worst part. The former Lin Bei harassing the young woman. Her obvious resistance. His persistence. Finally, an intimate moment that crossed the line. Lin Bei stiffened. So, I really did it. The realization twisted his expression into a bitter smile. That smile was enough to push Patriarch Shu completely over the edge. Die. The old man charged again, sword screaming through the air. Once more, Patriarch Lin intercepted the blade with his bare hand, stopping it inches from Lin Bei's body. At that instant, everything became clear. Lin Bei finally understood his role. He wasn't the hero. He was the disposable antagonist, the one who touched the hero's woman and paid for it with his life. Cold sweat ran down his back as he desperately searched for a way out. Then, without warning, violet light burst from his body. Lin Bei froze. What now? A translucent screen appeared before his eyes. Warning, fatal threat detected. System activation complete. His breath caught. A system? The screen offered a beginner reward. Lin Bei didn't hesitate for even a second. Accept. Instantly, information flooded his mind. 200 million spirit stones and a single objective. Survive. Lin Bei almost cursed aloud. What good was wealth if he died before spending it? Patriarch Shu continued glaring at him while Patriarch Lin urged him to apologize. Lin Bei took a breath and spoke carefully. I wronged Miss Shu, he admitted. But I wish to resolve this properly. The old man's eyes narrowed dangerously. You'd better have a convincing solution. Lin Bei straightened, fear buried beneath forced confidence. A small smile appeared on his lips. Then I'll use spirit stones, he said calmly, to buy my life. Patriarch Shu suddenly burst into laughter, the sound sharp and mocking. To him, Lin Bei's suggestion was nothing more than an insult. However, that laughter quickly twisted into fury. His gaze hardened as he accused the Lin family of deliberately humiliating him in public. Lin Bei remained composed. Without hesitation, he calmly proposed compensation, 1,000,000 spirit stones. The moment the number left his mouth, Patriarch Lin stiffened in disbelief. That sum alone equaled nearly a decade of the Lin family's total earnings. But Patriarch Shu roared in outrage. "Do you think my daughter's dignity can be measured with wealth?" Lin Bei understood instantly. The rejection wasn't because the idea was unacceptable, it was because the price was insufficient. A faint smile curved his lips. "Then how about 5,000,000? Patriarch Shu's heart skipped. His breathing faltered for a split second before he forced himself to regain control. The temptation was undeniable, yet his pride screamed louder. "Our family stands on honor," he declared loudly. "Not even 10,000,000, no, not even 100,000,000, will wash away this shame." With that, he raised his sword, intent on ending everything in one decisive strike. Lin Bei didn't flinch. "Would 100,000,000 spirit stones change your mind?" The words had barely settled when the space above them rippled. In the next instant, radiant stones poured down like a glittering storm, crashing onto the marble floor and piling higher and higher until the entire hall shimmered with multicolored light. Patriarch Shu froze. The overwhelming shock shattered his balance. He stumbled backward and collapsed onto the floor, staring at the impossible mountain of wealth before him. His lips trembled, but no words came out. "Is that truly 100,000,000? He finally whispered. Even Patriarch Lin stood speechless. He had lived his entire life without ever witnessing such an obscene amount of spirit stones. The surrounding elders were equally stunned, exchanging disbelieving glances as they wondered how such wealth could even exist. Still kneeling, Patriarch Shu looked up slowly. "All of this is for my family?" Lin Bei nodded inwardly. With the system backing him, this sum meant nothing. He spoke casually, saying that if Patriarch Shu found the offer unacceptable, he would simply retrieve the stones and leave. He raised his hand. At once, Patriarch Shu lunged forward and seized his arm. The hall fell silent. Inside, the old man was torn apart. His daughter's reputation had been damaged, something that could never be undone. Yet the treasure before him was enough to secure his family's future for generations. The pressure was unbearable. His shoulders shook as emotion finally broke through. Tears welled up, not from grief, but from the crushing weight of temptation. Still, he forced himself to speak harshly. "I will never forgive him," he declared stiffly. Yet his grip on Lin Bei's arm did not loosen. Seeing this, Patriarch Lin stepped in smoothly, offering a way out. He spoke of old ties between their families, of harmony being more valuable than bloodshed. Patriarch Shu hesitated, then slowly accepted the storage card containing the spirit stones. At last, his killing intent faded, and the tension choking the hall finally dispersed. Patriarch Shu finally straightened his robes and declared the matter temporarily settled. He announced that he would return home with his daughter and gave Lin Bei 3 days to personally visit and offer a formal apology. Outwardly, his tone remained cold and authoritative, but deep inside, guilt gnawed at him. He silently begged his daughter's forgiveness, knowing he had exchanged her grievance for the future security of the Shu family. The moment he departed, a familiar chime echoed in Lin Bei's mind. Mission completed. Rewards issued. A wave of relief washed over him. For the first time since waking in this unfamiliar body, he felt the sharp edge of death pull away. Without wasting a second, his curiosity flared, and he opened the system interface to check what awaited him next. The new directive appeared almost instantly. Objective: identify and remove the traitor within the Lin family. Reward: 200,000,000 spirit stones. Lin Bei's expression stiffened. Before he could fully process the implications, Patriarch Lin approached him, still visibly shaken. His father demanded an explanation. Where had that unbelievable fortune come from, and why hadn't Lin Bei kept a portion of it for the family? While the hall buzzed with murmurs, a pair of sharp eyes watched from the sidelines. The great elder stepped forward. His voice rang out cold and accusing as he pointed at Lin Bei, declaring that the young man was dragging the entire Lin household toward catastrophe. Patriarch Lin frowned in confusion, demanding to know what such a claim meant. The great elder didn't hesitate. He raised his voice, insisting that such an enormous sum could only spell disaster. He accused Lin Bei outright, claiming the spirit stones must have been stolen. Lin Bei met the accusation without a flicker of panic. He calmly questioned which dominant power in the region possessed such wealth, and more importantly, who could be robbed of it without immediate retaliation. The hall fell silent. The elder froze, unable to provide an answer. Still, he stubbornly insisted that wealth of such origin could only invite calamity. Lin Bei countered smoothly, suggesting the stones may have been obtained through legitimate means. The great elder scoffed, unwilling to believe it. Lin Bei's gaze sharpened as he dismantled the claim with logic. If the stones truly came from someone powerful enough to possess them, then attempting to steal such a fortune would have resulted in instant execution. The fact that he stood there unharmed was proof enough. The great elder was left speechless. Around them, murmurs of agreement spread through the family. No matter how reckless Lin Bei might be, no one believed he could rob an entity capable of holding such wealth and escape unscathed. Cornered, the old man finally retreated, muttering that his concerns were purely for the family's safety, though suspicion still lingered in his eyes. That was when Lin Bei's demeanor shifted. His tone grew firm as he stated that it was now his turn to speak. The great elder immediately defended himself, claiming his actions were guided solely by loyalty and that his conscience bore no stain. Lin Bei didn't back down. He accused the elder of deliberately provoking chaos, of attempting to push blame onto him while endangering the entire Lin family in the process. The words landed like a blade. The hall grew tense once more, as everyone realized this confrontation was far from over. Lin Bei let out a slow breath before raising his hand. From his sleeve he produced a smooth, faintly glowing stone and held it up for everyone to see. His voice was steady as he declared that he would not allow himself, or his family, to be falsely accused. Deep down, anxiety flickered through him. He silently hoped the system had not deceived him and that the evidence stored within the artifact was genuine. There would be no second chance if this failed. He turned toward the gathered elders and announced that the truth behind the entire incident lay with someone else. At his command, the stone activated. Light rippled outward, and a recorded scene unfolded in the air. It revealed a private exchange between the former Lin Bei and the great elder. The two were shown discussing the Shu family's young woman. In the projection, the great elder discreetly passed over a small packet, assuring that it would help smooth things over. The younger Lin Bei accepted it with visible gratitude, unaware of its true nature. As the recording faded, the present Lin Bei explained calmly that the item was laced with a rare herb capable of clouding judgment and distorting perception. The realization struck Patriarch Lin like a hammer. His expression darkened as the pieces finally aligned. What he had believed to be misconduct was nothing more than manipulation. His son had been a pawn. The great elder's face drained of color. Panic seized him, and he quietly edged toward the exit, hoping to slip away unnoticed. Lin Bei's voice cut through the silence. He asked where the elder thought he was going. Before the man could respond, Patriarch Lin's sword flashed into his hand. His fury exploded as he ordered the traitor to halt. Without hesitation, he charged forward, declaring that framing his own blood was an unforgivable crime. As head of the family, he pronounced judgment on the spot, stripping the great elder of his rank and authority before ordering his immediate imprisonment in the underground cells. The verdict echoed through the hall. Moments later, a familiar notification rang out in Lin Bei's mind. Mission complete. Reward issued. Another surge of spirit stones was added to his account, but this time he barely reacted. The disgraced elder, now restrained, lowered his head and admitted defeat. Yet confusion lingered in his voice as he demanded to know why the evidence had not been revealed from the start. Lin Bei answered without hesitation. If the truth had surfaced earlier, Patriarch Shu would never have accepted it. His rage would have blinded him, pushing the situation beyond repair. Allowing events to unfold had been necessary to earn the Shu family's trust. The implication stunned the remaining elders. They finally understood. Lin Bei had deliberately allowed himself to stand on the edge of disaster, using the crisis to build leverage with a rival clan. Even Patriarch Lin looked at his son with newfound awe. Soon after, another elder stepped forward, still unsettled. He questioned how Lin Bei could afford to give away such a staggering fortune to the Shu family. Lin Bei tilted his head slightly and asked who decided that had been his limit. With a casual gesture, he released another torrent of spirit stones. The hall trembled as a second mountain formed, glittering with impossible wealth. Gasps echoed everywhere. Pride flickered across Patriarch Lin's face, while the others exchanged uneasy glances. Many wondered if Lin Bei had somehow forged a connection with an unfathomable powerhouse. When pressed, Lin Bei merely smiled and said some matters were not meant to be shared. That was enough. The elders exchanged looks and nodded among themselves. In their minds, only one conclusion made sense. Behind Lin Bei stood an entity far beyond their reach. And from that moment on, no one in the Lin family dared underestimate him again. Patriarch Lin stared at his son, his thoughts spiraling wildly. For a brief moment, an almost impossible idea crossed his mind, that Lin Bei might have crossed paths with someone from the Lin clan's true main lineage. Such a connection would explain everything: the wealth, the confidence, the unseen backing. Lin Bei, meanwhile, had no idea what conclusions the others were drawing. He glanced around at the stunned elders and inwardly frowned, wondering what strange assumptions they were cooking up this time. Still, he pushed those thoughts aside. What mattered now wasn't speculation, it was authority. If he wanted to survive and thrive, he needed real influence within the family. With that resolve, he spoke again. He made it clear that the spirit stones were not charity. There was a single requirement attached. From this point forward, the Lin family would operate under unified leadership, one command, one direction. His gaze swept across the hall, steady and unflinching. Then, with a faint smile, he asked who stood with him, and who dared stand against him. Patriarch Lin stiffened. For a heartbeat, fear gripped him. Had his son finally decided to seize power for himself? Old memories surfaced: discipline, punishment, moments he wished he could take back. A chill ran through him as he wondered if this was retribution. But Lin Bei's thoughts were far simpler. He had no interest in overthrowing his father. All he wanted was to reinforce his position, to give Patriarch Lin unquestionable authority so no elder would ever challenge him again. Not everyone was convinced. Several elders exchanged glances and spoke up, arguing that leadership required more than wealth. Coins alone could not govern a clan. Lin Bei blinked, genuinely confused by their response. If money wasn't important, then why were they eyeing the stones so intently? Without another word, he gestured toward the towering pile of spirit stones still gleaming in the hall. He calmly explained that the entire amount was meant as a personal gift, for the elders themselves. The room fell silent. The old men stared at him in disbelief, asking if he truly meant all of it. Lin Bei nodded. If the resources were intended for the clan, he explained, they would already be locked away in storage. This offering was personal. That was all it took. One elder lunged forward, gripping Lin Bei's hand with trembling excitement, proclaiming that he had always known the boy possessed extraordinary potential. Others rushed in, voices overlapping, praise spilling freely. Before Lin Bei could react, the elders reached a unanimous decision. They declared him the new patriarch of the Lin family. Satisfaction flickered through Lin Bei for a split second. His message had clearly landed. But that feeling vanished almost immediately, replaced by shock. This was not how he expected things to unfold. Panicking, he raised both hands and insisted he had no desire to shoulder such responsibility. Unfortunately, his protest only deepened the misunderstanding. One elder interpreted his refusal as a clever power play, assuming Lin Bei intended to rule from the shadows while keeping his father as a symbolic figurehead. The others quickly agreed, praising his maturity and strategic mind. Just like that, the decision was finalized. Lin Bei was proclaimed head of the Lin family. Patriarch Lin covered his face, despair flooding his expression. In his mind, the clan's future had just spiraled into chaos. Lin Bei, on the other hand, stood frozen, completely lost. He had wanted influence, not absolute control. Later that night, once the excitement finally faded and the estate grew quiet, Lin Bei sat alone, replaying the events again and again. No matter how he traced it, he still couldn't understand how things had gone so wrong so quickly. But reality was reality. Since fate had shoved him into the role, he decided he might as well adapt. With no one around, he turned his attention inward and finally addressed the mysterious system that had guided him this far. He asked it to identify itself. The response was immediate. The system's primary function, he learned, was to ensure a stable and protected environment for its host. It provided automated cultivation, a destiny point mechanism, and even limited foresight. Lin Bei's eyes widened. Destiny points could be earned by completing assigned objectives. Those points, in turn, powered abilities that allowed glimpses into future outcomes. The implications thrilled him. With a tool that could predict what lay ahead and grow stronger without constant effort, Lin Bei felt a spark of excitement ignite in his chest. For the first time since arriving in this world, he smiled genuinely. Maybe, just maybe, he could live an easy life after all. Once everything finally settled, Lin Bei wasted no time testing his newfound advantages. He casually requested the system to activate automatic cultivation, then stretched out on his bed as if nothing in the world could trouble him. Spiritual energy flowed on its own, quietly strengthening his body while he did absolutely nothing.